Hello everyone, welcome back to Atreyu Crochet. So in today's video I'm going to be showing you another scarf pattern. Yes, I have exceeded my goal of 10 scarves during this third season, but I'm going to keep on going because there's still more time before we get to Christmas. Alright, so things you will need include a pair of scissors, a darning weaving tapestry needle, a crochet hook that corresponds to the size, or I guess yarn, the type of yarn that you're using. This is a medium 4, which normally calls for 5.5 millimeter US crochet hook. I go a little bit larger. I'm going to be using a J 6 millimeter US hook to combat my tension. And this is, I love this yarn. It's called Desert Dust. Okay. And yeah, it's an interesting color. I kind of like it. And I think this pattern will go well with this colorway. Alright, let's get started. So in today's video I'm going to be showing you the almond stitch, or the almond ridge stitch. Okay, I was a little bit I don't know, concerned because I really love this yarn, but it does have a slight effect to it, and so I had trouble like figuring out a good pattern that would go with it, because I want you guys to be able to easily see what I'm doing. But I think the almond ridge, or the almond stitch, will work well, will pair well with this yarn. So alright, so the multiple, you'll need a multiple of 8 and then plus 5 chains. Okay, so we will wrap around our finger like that, twist exchange. Okay, wrap around like that, pull this one over that one and off your finger while lifting up on the one on your finger. Insert your crochet hook. I'm using the size 6J millimeter US crochet hook into the loop and then pull to tighten. Okay, so remember I said a multiple of 8, so my multiple of 8 will be 2 times 8, which is 16, and then plus 5 more chains, which will give me 21. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That's my multiple of 8. 2 times 8, 16. Okay, and then plus 5 more. 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. Because the multiple is so large, I'm kind of forced to make it this width, which, you know, it's good for scarves, I guess, but I usually make my scarves a little bit narrower. So I say that to say that you'll definitely have to check it out at the end of the video to see how much yarn I use, to see if you'll need 1 or 2 skeins. I'll know by the end, obviously. Alright, so now that we have all of our chains made, we're going to slip stitch into the second chain from the hook. Here's the hook. That's the loop on the hook. This is the first chain from the hook. This is the second chain from the hook. That's where we're going to enter, right there, in that second chain from the hook. So to slip stitch, bypass the first one, go into the second one, okay? And now we're going to yarn over and pull all the way through to the front for 2 loops, 1, 2, and then just continue going, pulling all the way through. That's how you make a slip stitch. Let's make 3 more, 1 in the next 3 chains. So here's the next chain. We'll enter it, yarn over, and pull all the way through, so you can stop and count 1, 2, and then continue. That's our second slip stitch. Now you might be wondering, okay, where's the next chain? So look here, that chain has the slip stitch, which means this is the next chain. So always make sure you're entering the right stitch. So enter it and make a slip stitch. You can stop and count 1, 2, and then continue. That's the third one. I said we're going to make 4. And then, or you can do it this way, enter and then just pull all the way through like that. Okay? I have 4 slip stitches. Now the slip stitch is such a short stitch that you won't be able to really count the body. Okay, so you're going to have to count the top to locate. Now I know I crocheted 4, but just to show you, here's the top of the first one. 1, this is 2, this is 3, and that's 4 right there. trying to hide behind my crochet hook. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Alright, so now we're going to switch stitches. We're going to switch to another stitch. We're going to switch to the half double crochet, and we're going to put 1 half double crochet in the next 4 stitches. To make a half double crochet, we start out by yarning over first. Okay, now we enter the chain, in this case the next chain, the next stitch, like that. Now we yarn over and pull through to the front for 3 loops. 1, 2, 3. It looks like we're going to make a double crochet, right? But no, we're making a half double crochet. And the difference is that when we yarn over, so yarn over, we're going to pull through all the loops, all 3 loops. 1, 2, and 3. And that's how you make a half double crochet. So we have 3 more to make because we need to have a total of 4 half double crochets. 1 in the next 3 stitches now, since we already made that one. Let's do it again. Yarn over, find the next chain, which is there. Yarn over, pull through to the front for 3 loops. 1, 2, 3. Yarn over, go through all 3. Next stitch, yarn over, enter the chain like that. Yarn over, pull through to the front for 3 loops. Yarn over, go through all 3 loops. One more, yarn over, find the next chain, which is there. Enter, yarn over, pull through to the front for 3 loops. Yarn over, go through all 3. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Now we're going to go back to the slip stitch, and we're going to make 4 slip stitches. 1 slip stitch in the next 4 stitches. So let's find the next chain, which is there. Remember, to make a slip stitch, you do not yarn over first. You just enter the chain, yarn over, and pull all the way through. Keep your slip stitches nice and loose, okay? Next chain is there. And just pull all the way through. That's 2. Next chain is there. Pull all the way through. That's 3. One more. Next chain is there. Yarn over, pull all the way through. That's 4. I bet you guys know what we're going to do next. That is correct. We're going to go back to the half double crochet. Yarn over, next chain. Yarn over, pull through to the front for 3 loops. Yarn over, go through all 3 loops. Okay. Alrighty, continuing on. Yarn over, find the next chain, which is there, and make your half double crochet for 2. Next, another half double crochet for 3. Next, find the next chain, half double crochet for 4. So notice we're switching stitches after every 4 stitches, after every 4 chains. Okay. Now we have, let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 more stitches. So the final 4 stitches will be slip stitches. Okay. So enter and just slip stitch. Remember to keep them loose because we're going to need to enter these stitches in the next row. That's 2. Enter, yarn over, pull all the way through for 3. Enter, yarn over, pull all the way through for 4. Okay, and that's row 1. In the next row, we're going to match the stitches. So in all the slip stitches, we're going to put slip stitches, and in all the half double crochet stitches, we're going to put half double crochet stitches. But something that we're going to do that's a little bit different is that we're only going to work in the back loops from here on out. Okay, so let's chain 1 like that. That chain 1 is coming out of that first slip stitch. Okay, and that's where we're going to enter right there, because when we turn this around, that loop will be the back loop. Okay, that's going to be the back loop. Remember that. Alright, so turn your work. Now, as I said, this chain 1 is coming out of that first slip stitch. That's the top of the first slip stitch. Okay, we're going to work in the back loops only. So here's the entire top right there. We're going to crochet into the back loop of that top, and we're going to match the stitches. So since we're crocheting into a slip stitch, that's what we're going to make. Okay, so find the back loop like that and make a slip stitch, keeping it loose for 1. Find the next stitch. You can kind of rotate it so you can see the tops more easily, and find the back loop. Okay, that's 2. Rotate, see the top, find the back loop. That's 3. One more. Find the top, find the back loop, and that's 4. The slip stitches can be kind of tough, especially if you're not used to them, okay? Just take your time. Alright, so we've made our 4 slip stitches, and we know that it's time for us to change the type of stitch that we're making. Also, you can look and see how these are taller, so we know we're in the realm of the half double crochet. So, as I said, we're matching the stitches, so you're going to put 1 half double crochet in the next 4 stitches, but remember, only working in the back loop, okay? So, half double crochet, you yarn over first. I kind of like to rotate it a little bit so I can see the tops. See those beautiful tops there? Now that I've found the top of the stitch, find the back loop of the stitch like that, and then make your half double crochet. Yarn over, pull through for 3 loops, and then yarn over, go through everything. That's 1. Yarn over, rotate to find the next top. It's right there. Find the back loop of the top. Here's the front loop. That's the back loop, and make your half double crochet like that. So that's 2, that's 3, and that's 4, you guys. Okay? Now it's time to switch back to the slip stitch. So we're going to make a slip stitch, 1 slip stitch in the next 4 stitches. Rotate, find the top, and then find the back loop of the top, and make your slip stitch. Remember to keep the slip stitches loose, okay? Because you're going to have to enter them the next row, as you see. And I'm getting into these slip stitches pretty easily because I kept it loose. Alright, so that's what you're going to have. Now, 1 half double crochet in the next 4 stitches in that back loop only. 1, 2, 3, give myself some slack, and then 1 more for 4, and then I have 4 more slip stitches at the end, so I find the back loop and just make a slip stitch in those. 1, 2, and just to make sure you got it, here's the top, right? This is the front loop, that's the back loop right there, okay? So that's where I'm entering. This is the 3rd one. Alright, and then rotate once again. That is the front loop, that's the back loop right there. I'm going to enter the back loop. So just go in there, yarn over, and pull all the way through. And now I have made 4. Okay, so this is what you have. That's row 2. Now for the next 2 rows, we're going to put the opposite stitch. Well, I should say, for the next row, we're going to put the opposite stitch. So we know that we ended with slip stitches, which means we're going to be crocheting into these slip stitches in row 3. But this time, we're going to put half double crochets into those slip stitches. So wherever we see slip stitches, we'll be crocheting half double crochets. Wherever we see half double crochets, we're going to put slip stitches, and just keep alternating like that. Alright, so let's do row 3. Alright, so we'll start out by chaining 1 like always. Okay, and as I said before, that chain 1 is coming out of that slip stitch. This is the top of the slip stitch. This is the back loop of the slip stitch. So we're going to be entering that way once we turn our work. This will be the back loop, okay? But in this, we're going to put, for round 3, or row 3, remember, we're going to be putting a half double crochet because we're going to make the opposite stitch this time. So turn your work, yarn over, since it's a half double crochet, and find the complete top, which is there, and then find the back loop, which is there, and then make your half double crochet. So that's 1. Yarn over, do it again for the next stitch. Like I said, it can be kind of tough with these slip stitches, so that's why I say crochet loose. Go through everything. 2, yarn over, find the next one. 3, next one, and that's 4. So in each of those slip stitches, we made half double crochets. Now it's time to switch to the slip stitch. How do I know that? Because we're doing the opposite. Here we have the half double crochet, so we're going to put slip stitches in these. These will be much easier to enter into, but be sure you're keeping it loose. So here's the next one. Here's the top. The back loop of the top is there. And then I'm just going to make a slip stitch. So for 1, next one, 2, next one, 3, next one, 4. See how easy that was? So much easier than crocheting into the slip stitches, but you'll manage. Alright, next one, 1 half double crochet in the next 4 stitches. So just find the back loops and make your half double. 1, next one, 2, next one, 3, and 4th one, 4. Alright, that's what we're getting. Very cool. Alright, 1 slip stitch in the next 4. 1, keep it loose. 2, keep it loose. 3, keep it loose. And 4, keep it loose. This is what we're getting, okay? Alright, 1 more. And with this pattern, if you do the same multiple, you'll end the way you started. So since we started with half double crochets, it's going to work out so that you also end with half double crochets. So we have 4 stitches left, and we're going to put half double crochets in each one. Remember, in the back loops. So 1, okay, 2, 3, and 4. It'd be tough to find the final stitch, but just look for the front and back loop. There's the top right there. Okay, more precisely there. So we're going to work in that back loop. Alright, so yarn over, go in there, and just take your time finding it and make your half double crochet like that. Alright, for round, I keep wanting to say round, this is not circular. For row 4, we are going to we're going to match the stitches again. Okay, so we'll chain 1, turn our work, and in this round or row, and in this row, we're going to match the stitches. So since I'm crocheting into half double crochets, I'm going to put half double crochets into them. So yarn over, find the back loop of that first stitch, and make a half double crochet, and put a half double crochet in each of these first 4 stitches. 3 and then 4. Okay, the next 4 are slip stitches, so that's what I'm going to put in them. So slip stitch, keep it loose, find that back loop, slip stitch, keep it loose. Don't forget to rotate, find the top, here's the front loop, there's the back loop, and that's where we enter. Keep it loose for 3, and 1 more, keep it loose for 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now half double crochet, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now 4 slip stitches, back loops, keep it loose. Make sure you don't go into 2 like I just did. See, I caught the bottom, that other loop, so I caught myself. So I'm gonna be careful, bypassing it this time, right? And now make that slip stitch loose. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm going to end the way I started. I started with half double crochets, so it works out that I end with half double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and then, like I said, this last one can be kind of tricky to find. Just rotate it so that you see the top. Okay, here is the top. Once you identify the top, you're all set. Okay, front loop, back loop. Once you get in the top, just go in that back loop, catch that back loop. So yarn over, go in there, and make your final half double crochet for this row. Okay, and this is what you have. So I don't know if you guys saw the pattern. Yes, you have the pattern. You're alternating every 4 stitches between the half double crochet and the slip stitch. But there's also a pattern in terms of the rows. The first 2 rows I started with the slip stitch and then alternated. The second 2 rows, so that was row 1 and 2. The next 2 rows, row 3 and 4, I started with the other stitch and I matched the stitches. So see if I can make this simpler. If you start with the slip stitch like we did, then you'll do that and then you'll match the stitch for the second row. Okay, and then after those 2 rows, then you'll start with the other type of stitch, and that's what's creating this almond effect. Okay, See these nice little beautiful almonds? That's what's creating that effect, alternating not only every 4 stitches within a row, but alternating which stitch you begin with every 2 rows. Okay? So that means since I just completed 2 rows, row 3 and row 4, with the half double crochet, I've completed 2 rows. That means in the next row it's time to start over and begin with the slip stitch. So I'm going to chain 1 like I always do, turn my work, and since I did 2 rows, 2 consecutive rows starting with half double crochet, that means this next row, which is that row 1 again, starts with the slip stitch in that back loop. So 1, okay, 2, 3, 4. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so I'll finish this row, and then the next row, technically, so this is row 5. Technically row 6, I'll start with the slip stitch again because I need 2 rows, 2 consecutive rows starting with the same type of stitch. Once I get 2 consecutive rows starting with the same type of stitch, then that next row thereafter, I change the stitch. Okay, and you're only working with 2 stitches, the half double crochet and the slip stitch. So if you have 2 consecutive rows starting with slip stitch, that means that next row starts, the next 2 rows after that will start with the half double crochet and vice versa. Alright, hopefully I haven't confused you. I've tried to be thorough. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, but I'm gonna get some length on this and then I'll check back in once it's time to wrap up this video. Alright, see you soon. Actually, this is probably going to take a little bit longer than the other scarf tutorials because working with those slip stitches, and it's wider than I usually go, but yeah, we'll get there. Don't forget to stay tuned to see if 1 skein is sufficient or if you need more. Okay? Hey guys, so I am pretty much done with the other scarf, but I wanted to show you with a different color just in case that colorway was a little bit hard for you guys to see, especially the beginners. As I was working on the scarf, I was thinking of ways to try to make this a little bit easier for you. And something that I came up with is to use a stitch marker. If you don't have a stitch marker, you can use a paper clip or yarn of a different color. And once you completed 2 rows of the same type, notice I started with half double crochets in that one and then half double crochets there. So that's 2 rows. Remember I told you after you do 2 consecutive rows starting with the same type of stitch, then you switch. So something that you can do is on this side you can just put the stitch marker somewhere on the corner, okay, like that, and then you'll know every time you get back to this side it's time to start with the other stitch. So let me show you. So like I said, I just finished 2 rows starting with half double crochet, so that means now it's time to start with the slip stitch. I've already chained 1, so just enter the back loop, and remember, like I said, keep it loose. If you keep it loose, that's going to help you to get into that stitch when you come back across for the pass. Okay, so just keep putting the appropriate stitches. That's 4 slip stitches. Now it's time for the half double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4. The yarn that I was working with is actually a little bit smoother than this one, so this one I can tell wants to split. Alright, now it's back to the slip stitches. Okay, so in that back loop, 1, keep it loose, 2, keep it loose, 3, keep it loose, and 4, keep it loose. Now it's time for the half double crochet again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then I'm going to end the way I started with the slip stitch. So 1, keep it loose, 2, keep it loose, 3, keep it loose, and don't forget to turn that way so you can see the top on the back loop. And then 4, okay, keep it loose. Alright, so I'm on this side. I don't see a stitch marker over there, so that means that I match the stitches basically. So if I chain 1, turn my work, hey, I don't see a stitch marker, so that means I'll start the way I end it, which is with slip stitch. So just go in and make your slip stitches. Keep it loose. 2, keep it loose. 3, keep it loose. 4, keep it loose, matching the stitches. Now I can see I'm to the half double crochets, so I'm going to match them. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now slip stitches again. Keep it loose. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Alright. Now I'm to the half double crochets, so I match it. 1, and you should keep your half double crochets loose as well. 2, 3, and 4. Okay, but I really feel like you need that reminder with the slip stitches. Last 4. Keep it loose. 1, 2, keep it loose. And by the way, a tip to keep it loose is making sure that the loop is kind of loose, the one that's on your hook, before you start. 3, because that's the top right there. This was the loop right there that was on your hook, and it's loose because it was loose on your crochet hook. For instance, this one is not loose right now. So before I start that slip stitch, I'm going to lift up a little bit just to make it loose, and then I'll enter and make this 4th slip stitch. And now you see I keep it loose. I'll chain 1, turn my work, and hey, I see the stitch marker, so that means it's time, because I'm back on this side, the side of the stitch marker, that means that it's time to start with the other stitch. So the last one I did was the slip stitch, so now I know I need to start with a half double crochet. And I think that's a good way to help you remember. You could also look and see, I wouldn't try to look at the slip stitches. It's easier to identify the rows looking at the half double crochet rows, and you can clearly see you did 2 consecutive rows there with half double crochet. So that can also tell you that, hey, it's time to start with the other stitch. But I like the stitch marker idea. That works. Okay, so hopefully that helps. I don't know how well maybe if I turn it like that, you can see the indentations. It's just really a beautiful stitch, and I know I was kind of complaining about how wide it was, but it turned out to be wonderful, perfect with for a scarf. I will say that if you do want it to be, super long, you definitely will need 2 skeins. But if you don't need a super long scarf, 1 skein is enough. All right, let's wrap up this video. All right, so here is this scarf. I told you I was pretty much done, and I am. It's true. I have only this much yarn left of this skein, and you can see it's pretty long. And this is really nice because it's very stretchy. Just the nature of the stitch is stretchy, and it's so soft, you guys. I really wish you could feel. This is a beautiful scarf. I'm gonna say it'll probably take you about at least 3 hours to make, but it's okay. It's 3 hours well spent, because I'm so proud of this finished product. And I'm not even finished yet, but you guys know what I mean. But look at that definition. So amazing. You really see it. You can see the shadows in it, Alright, so anyway, it would be ideal if you could end with 2 consecutive rows, because that was kind of how we started. See how you can see the half double crochet and half double crochet there. I know that this is not enough yarn to get me back across, so it's okay. I'm just gonna weave my yarn in now. I guess something that I could do is I could slip stitch across, just to kind of give it a little bit of a sort of finished look. You don't have to do that. You can just weave in your yarn, but maybe I'll do that. So yeah, I'll definitely do that. Alright, because I know that this is enough yarn to slip stitch across. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to chain 1. Let me zoom in. And you guys know how to make slip stitches, but this time instead of going the back loop, I'm going to slip stitch into the whole top of the loop. So I'm gonna, or stitch, so I'm gonna slice the icing off the top of the cake like that and just slip stitch. So just slip stitch in every stitch across. They don't need to be super tight by any means, just, you know, make your slip stitches. Slip stitching into slip stitches might be a little challenging if you made those slip stitches tight. So another reason to keep your slip stitches loose. Let's see how it's kind of giving it a nice finish. I like it. So just keep slip stitching across. That's a tongue twister, isn't it? Let's see. Yeah, this is definitely enough yarn to get me across. Good idea, Atreyu. So I say I have one loop, so just slice the icing. And yes, that was the slip stitch that I was slip stitching into, which is why it was a little challenging, but we made it. Slice the icing off the top of the cake. Slice the icing off the top of the cake. Slice the icing off the top of the cake. One more. Remember, for this last stitch, I always rotated to get the aerial view so you can see the entire top. In this case, we want the whole top, not just the back loop, and we'll slip stitch. Alright, now we'll chain one, pull the yarn through, and look at that. So now we're going to put this yarn through the eye of our darning weaving tapestry needle, and we're just going to weave in this tail, just to secure the yarn, okay? So we'll go in one direction, just through some stitches. It's all one color, so you don't have to worry about where you're weaving the yarn. Okay, and just pull through. Like that. And then we'll take a slightly different path, going back in the opposite direction. And you guys know I like to come out the side. But you can come out wherever you want, like that. Okay. Then you will cut your yarn down. Where are my scissors? Here they are. Then you'll cut your yarn down like that without cutting your work. And there you go. I'll weave in this other tail and then I'll really finish up this video. Alright, you guys, this is the finished product. Okay. It ended up being like what? 26 inches, which is like 66 centimeters. So if that's sufficient, if that's a sufficient length for you, then one skein is enough. If you want it longer, then you should get another skein. Okay. But yeah, so beautiful. So once again, it's hard to kind of capture this. Really, if I dim this a little bit, not too much. I don't know. Just I gotta angle it the right way so you can see the texture of it. You know, that those indentations. Almond is that almond shape. It's so beautiful, you guys, and it's so soft. By the way, I know I said it's 26 inches or 66 centimeters. As I said before, this is a really stretchy, as you can see. I'm only lightly tugging. You see how much stretch it has. So when it's draping down on you around your shoulders, it's probably going to hang even lower. So you can take that into account when you're deciding how many skeins you want to get. But yeah, a beautiful stitch. As I said, give yourself, you know, at least 3 hours to finish it. It's the type of scarf that I kind of, because it requires a little bit of focus, paying attention, you know, when it's time to make slip stitches, when it's time to make half double crochets, and then making sure you're entering the correct area, you know, the correct part of the stitches, because you're working in the back loops. Those little things kind of slow you down. So you want to take your time with this. But as I said, it is definitely worth the effort and worth the 3 hours, because like you're gonna absolutely love this. You're gonna love it. Okay. Alright guys, that's gonna be it for this video, but you know I'll see you in the next one. In the meantime, happy crocheting.